Morning.
Okay. Kusawa mekani soko dakika linki yo buza roja ajiraba. Barakati. Mujirabe. Kale. Kati ani agenda okugira mugenda kumukubira oba ngenda kubeera ku mwagala mbere ku online. Kale.
You don't have data? You need... When are we starting the interview?
Yeah, that is why I think it should be in the next 5 minutes.
You need data. There's no data in our router.
I think the router is off.
We need to charge it. We can put it to charge.
Is it? It's inside?
Yeah. Or click. No, click.
Okay. Let me find out maybe they yes.
It's bringing?
The charger is here. I think she says it should be here. Only that.
The router? Where? Or it's in the car?
Oh, by the way, it could be the D. Check. I think we. transmitting, just following.
Yeah.
But there is.
Even here, the first. You get the Wi-Fi from here. Welcome, 2021.
He's calling me now. Elder. You. Uh-huh. Mukadde. Elder, what I'm going to do that one is on, but I think I'm good. Link it, Ali. Link it. Mbadde mwagala. 3, 2. Okay. Hello, Elder. Good morning. Welcome to Sunspire on Hope Channel Uganda once again.
Thank you, Ibra.
Yes, for starters, it is coming to 2 full weeks of AWR evangelism in Mukuru. How has been the experience for you?
Thank you, Ibra, and a very good morning to the viewer on Hope Channel Uganda. The meetings have been excellent. People have been turning up in big numbers, and we thank God for the support that we are getting from the leadership of Mid-Eastern Uganda Field, and from our friends. I've had opportunity of being visited by friends from Kampala, including Professor Wahuire from Busitema University. We've had the regional police spokesperson for Bukhedi region attending the meeting with us. We've had one of my elders working with the Bank of Uganda coming to join us in these efforts. And generally, members have been coming in big numbers. We've been having a very vibrant medical camp, and with medical professionals assisting, and people have been turning up in big numbers to benefit from the medical camps, besides getting the evangelistic messages. So generally, I would say it's been a good meeting.
And besides the general turnout, we talked about being that the masses have been there, do we have any souls willing to surrender to Jesus?
Yes, we have at least 60 souls that have made decisions for baptism by immersion. They filled in the decision cards, and out of about over 100 people who attend every day, every time we've been making appeals, there have been people responding positively to the appeals. On the medical camp, we've seen at least 150 people benefiting from the various medical services that are being offered by our medical professionals who are providing the services. And out of those, a minimum of 50 have benefited from the dental services, which include extractions. So we've been attending to the need of the community besides sharing the evangelistic messages, the message of hope.
If someone out there is willing to get baptized, maybe the opportunity, he is still in the decision making, but is the opportunity still at hand? Probably that person might be far away. How can they get baptized, and can they be able to get Bible study lessons as well?
Okay, that's a very good question. Because although we are holding these meetings on the ground at Mifumi, we're also relaying the same message to AWR Maranatha in Jinja, AWR Orion in Lira, and AWR Ebenezer in Mbale. We're also on YouTube, and besides also being on Hope Channel. And I was also joined by one of my colleagues from South Africa, AWR Seed Media, Pastor Nael Upondwana, who is preaching at Rock City Radio. It's not a Seventh-day Adventist radio station, but they've been kind enough to sell to us some airtime, so we are able also to preach the message there. So the response has been good. We are reaching far and wide. And since the transmissions to the radio stations are based on internet, it means there are others who are also following us from far and wide, including in outside Uganda. And so far we have, for example, 2 people in Saudi Arabia who have been following, and they are making up their minds for baptism, and they are wondering, how can we do this? So for those who may make up their mind to get to get baptized, and they are not able to join us here, on all those platforms, or on all those radios and YouTube and on TV, we've provided contacts through which they can get in touch with us, and then we can advise. Depending on where they are located, we can advise accordingly, because the Seventh-day Adventist Church is all over the world. In Arua, we will be in position to provide him with a contact, or provider with a contact, on how he can get in touch with one of our ministers in those respective places, and then they can be guided to get baptized.
So, Elder, what is the plan after the mission? Planting a church, or another plan?
Starting from last year, Adventist World Radio Africa region has come up with a special mission for Uganda Union Mission, where the head office of Adventist World Radio is. Last year we did a similar event in Arua, and the Lord blessed us. We got funding to buy a piece of land and to construct a building for worship, a church. And the members are already using the same building right now. Our plan for Mifumi is not different from that. Having come up with this congregation in an area which is not entered, by the way, this is one of the unentered areas. So there isn't any church nearby. The nearest church is maybe about 10 or 15 kilometers away. So our intention is to have a congregation based in that place. So a congregation which is comprising the indigenous people. And the best way of keeping such kind of people, such a congregation together, is to get a home for them, and that is buying a piece of land and constructing a church. That is what we are planning to do, and by the grace of God, we hope to get the necessary resources to do this.
Okay, we can realize that there are still many souls out there yearning to know God's word or for the good news. A quick one. How big is the task ahead of us in terms of evangelism, and how can we tackle such?
Oh, the task is huge, Ibra. The task is huge. There are so many people in the world who have not gotten this everlasting gospel, the message of salvation, and they are scattered. That's why in Matthew chapter 9, verses 36, going onwards, we hear the Lord saying, the harvest is plenteous, but the laborers are few. And he says, pray therefore that the Lord of harvest may send the laborers to do the harvest. This text is appealing to you and me and to everyone who has accepted the message. The laborers that are supposed to be sent are not coming from heaven. They are not angels coming from heaven, but we are the laborers, and we are the ones who are supposed to do that. The work is indeed plenteous, but the laborers are few. When you make a decision to be part of the laborers in the vineyard, then you are an answer to that prayer to the Lord of harvest. So the work is much. We need to recommit ourselves to prioritize evangelism.
Thank you. Winding up, we will now want to get some closing remarks from you, because we want to go back to Derek and Choice to continue the Sunspire. Any closing remarks that you could give us?
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you, Hope Channel. You an opportunity to share this message to more people through your platform, and thank you for constantly keeping in touch and following up on what is happening on the ground. And to our viewer out there, this is the appeal that I would like to make. The world as it is does not make sense. If you look at the way the world is, you realize that there's something wrong, and you yearn for something better. It doesn't make sense for us to be born, live in this world, and then we die, and the cycle continues from generation to generation. Without any hope beyond here, you would wonder, what is this? What is all this about? It would be better if I were not born at all, if I'm just supposed to be born, live, and I die. And then my children will live and they die. And then it continues on. There is something better. The time that we have in this world is not for anything else but for us to make a decision. The Lord's plan was for us to live eternally. But because of sin which intruded into the world, we are now mortal. We are subject to death, and the Lord wants to restore us to what he had intended for us initially. So the short time we have in this world, even if you live for 100 years, you're supposed to use that time to make a decision to be on the side of the Lord, so that you can be restored to the glory that we lost. It is my appeal that as we do our work in this world, as we do our day-to-day activities, as we do our plans for personal development and everything else, we need to know that ultimately it all comes to an end in this world the way it is, but there is something better. And that is why we are out here sharing this message of salvation, for us to look forward to something better that the Lord is preparing for us. So let's make ourselves ready for the second coming of Jesus Christ, which is the ultimate solution to the problems in this world. May God bless you.